actually, this is something I would have loved to do with my life if I wasn't doing radio. So can you introduce yourself and tell us the name of your organization?
I'm Erin Kapiris, and I am here on behalf of the Visitation House.
And tell us because visitation's kind of an open word there. It could be a lot of things. So tell us what the Visitation House is.
Visitation House is a maternity home. We support pregnant women who are in crisis.
And I know what crisis is, but everybody has a different term of crisis. What is crisis to you and your home?
Well, women who have no other options for where they live, women who have been broken up in their relationship, women who have lost their job and are unexpectedly homeless, women whose families just can't accept another mouth to feed, so they wind up on the streets.
So is there an application? I mean, how many people can you hold? How does it work?
So all our applications are online. We have a website. It's visitationhousedeland.org, and interested women can come and fill out an application. We have a house that has a capacity of 9 women and 5 babies. It's tight at that level. Right now we have 6 women and 5 babies.
I know. I when you told me that, how exciting, though. I would be loving on all those babies.
We love our babies. Mm-hmm. We love our babies.
And so I've been there, and it's really neat. We got to go on a tour and stuff, and we got to have a baby shower when we were there. And you're always in need of different things, aren't you, for that house?
We are, because we are a private, not-for-profit. So we really have to pay all of our own bills. So simple things like paying for the electric and the water and the sewer and the repairs that come up when the plumbing goes. We have to pay for those. But we also need the kinds of things that you would have in your own house. Laundry soap and dish soap and body wash and paper towels and toilet paper, and of course all the baby supplies, diapers, wipes, clothing, blankets.
Because they probably come to you with nothing and pregnant, right?
Yes, typically they do.
Now, do they come when they're first pregnant, or do they have to wait till they're so far in their pregnancy to come to you? How does that all work out?
Well, they can come at any point. They can apply really at any point. We see women who are applying when they first find out that they're pregnant. You know, the women who maybe have more of a sense of planning. Mm-hmm. You know, when they first find out they're pregnant, maybe they're 11 or 12 weeks pregnant. They will apply and start looking for, because in our program, you need to have a job. You need to be working.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. That's wonderful.
So our goal is to bring women to self-sufficiency. Mm-hmm. So if they come to us early in their pregnancy, we work with them on either finishing their education. If they don't have a GED, we work with that. We've actually had a resident recently who was attending the Child's Academy to finish her high school diploma on campus. We've had college students, so we work with them to either finish up their education or get a job. We have volunteers who work with our women on their resumes, on their interviewing skills, on looking at their background and figuring out how they could apply their experience maybe in other positions, mm-hmm. So that they're ready to be employed. So once a lot
of figuring out, isn't there?
There's a lot, because women who find out they're unexpectedly pregnant, they're in a daze, mm-hmm. right?
Isn't it funny, because you think, well, how are they in a daze? They know how it happened. Because you never think it's going to happen to you at that time of your life.
Yes, it's a surprise to really all the women who come in. Mm-hmm. I mean, there have been some women who come in and it was a planned pregnancy, but then everything fell apart. Mm-hmm. So they can't, it wasn't what they were expecting. The Prince Charming, mm-hmm. The stay-at-home situation. They're on their own, and they've got to scramble and figure out how to do this.
Now, how long can they stay with you?
We have a target of when the baby's 4 months old, okay. But we have women who leave earlier because they've been able to save money during their pregnancy, and they're able to move out and find suitable housing and employment before that. And we have some that the babies have been 6, 8, 9 months old because either the housing situation wasn't there for them, or they haven't been able to keep a job. So it's individualized, but our target is 4 months after the baby's born.
Now, you work with organizations in town because you are a nonprofit. And so, like, I know that you've worked with Volusia County Women That Care, and you got a scholarship grant through them. And then I know Bold Ladies of Volusia County recently just had you there.
Yes.
And so you'll go to places and speak, won't you?
I will speak anywhere to anyone.
And that's so cute because when I first met her, I don't think if she felt that way.
That's true.
But you believe in what you do, and you see lives being changed, don't you?
It really does change. We're, compared to other charities, we're very small. We have a budget of $140,000 a year, and we only have 2 employees. We have 8 volunteer board members, and we have a core of dedicated volunteers beyond that. But we're very small.
And they're on baby watch.
There are so many good causes, but our ability to network with the other nonprofits in the area, we really can change a life. We may help 30 women in a year, and since we've been in business almost 20 years now, we've helped. We estimate almost 300 women.
Isn't that wonderful?
And so it's not just those 300 women; it's their babies. And it's changing the dynamic of their families. If a woman realizes that she can do it and she's self-sufficient, she sees herself differently, she's able to raise her children differently.
And so I love that about you guys, because when you're in that moment, you feel useless, you feel hopeless. You do. You just, because you feel like, am I a loser because I'm in this moment? You're not. You have a life growing inside of you, the most amazing thing in the world. But you need a little help. You need somebody to come along and be a cheerleader, don't you? And I feel like you guys are cheerleaders.
We may be a little bit different than other maternity homes because we are about the joy. Visitation House, the name, it recalls the Bible story when this pregnant teenager goes to see her pregnant aunt. They're both impossible pregnancies, right? You have a teenager who's unwed, Mary, and she goes into the hillside to her aunt who, they don't say how old, but she was of advanced age. She's probably 30. But,
oh, man, I thought maybe my age, but you just messed that up.
But the story tells us, when they saw each other, their babies leapt for joy, the joy that they shared, even in the face of impossible pregnancies. So that's what, that's why we were named Visitation House, is because of the joy. Even though it's impossible, you're homeless, you're feeling terrible, but there's such joy. This is such an amazing gift that you're given.
Oh, when you walk into your place, you feel like you're home.
Yes.
And that there's hope. I didn't know what I was going to expect. And so we parked the car and we get out, and I walked in and there's rooms set up for it's your own space, and then you have a common area for sitting out, and people had the girls had babies out there, and it was so cute. And then there's a kitchen that everybody can join in and make food together. And so it wasn't I don't know I think I kind of expected like a dorm. Does that make sense? But it's not that. It's a home. Right.
It is a home. We have a dorm room for women who come in before they have their baby. They start out in the dorm, and it helps them kind of develop the community. But
I didn't even look at a dorm room. I didn't feel what I'm saying?
It wasn't bunk beds and steel frames and everything. It's
a step up.
All of our linens are donated to us. So the bedspreads are unique. The pillows, and it's real sheets and prints, and we use all of that, that are donated. So it does look homey. The women put their stuffies. We had recently fundraising with via Orange City Women's Group, and one of the members crocheted these beautiful little turtles. Just something to say. Here's a. If you've come in homeless, you've left your sentimental things. So she crocheted. She and her daughter, I believe, crocheted these so that they would have something on their bed that was personal to them.
It makes a big difference. And then I love that you have a room full of supplies and needs for the women, because you're trying to figure out, how am I going to do this? I remember when I had my daughter, and my dad went to the big box store, and he was going to pick up formula and diapers for me. And I thought, oh, how nice. Wasn't that great? He came home and handed me the receipt. And I was like, what do you mean? It's your grandchild. And it was the first grandchild. And he goes, you're going to learn now. this is a responsibility and this costs money. It was probably the best money I ever paid in my life, because it did teach me that formula costs X amount of dollars, those diapers, those wet ones, and my parents were always there for me, and they were wonderful parents. But my dad had rules, and I thought, what do you mean we have rules? He goes, I didn't get pregnant. You did.
Right.
And that man was the smartest man I know, because he made me grow up in that moment and made me have responsibility. And my daughter now, Hope, is very successful. And I remember the day she graduated. It was like me graduating. The day she became a nurse practitioner, I felt as much as if I had done it, because I had somebody to be my cheerleader, somebody to hold me up and teach me that this is my child.
Right.
And we're going to make it. And her name is Hope. And we had hope and care. And I felt that warmth when I walked into you guys' place. I felt like you were my dad, you know what I'm saying, by encouraging, and it's going to be all right. There's going to be moments that you might not feel it, but there's somebody here to help you.
And we also have to impose rules, right?
Yes, so like my dad, rules.
Women are coming from all different backgrounds. Yep. They may be coming from poverty and lack of education, or they're coming from more middle class or affluent families, but their families have had enough. They haven't been able to, to set the rules. So there's some tough love. We see some women like that. So we have to have our rules. We have a curfew. We have, they have to work. They have to do chores. They have to keep the house clean. They have to, mop the floors and do the dishes and do their laundry. Their privileges correspond to where they are. We have a 4-phase program, and sometimes there are infractions and consequences to pay. Some women, they just can't figure it out, and so we have to actually exit them from the program.
But that's only right for the other women and the other babies. Tough love.
Sometimes it is tough. Sometimes even by the time they come to us, they haven't figured out that there are consequences.
Now, why do you do this?
Why do I do this? Because God has a sense of humor.
But, like people ask me, why do I do radio? It wasn't because my family owned it, because I hated the first year here. It was because of a phone call. Somebody called in for prayer, and their child had a brain tumor. And my daughter had just went through brain surgery. And I realized I wasn't the only person that was dealing with something life-changing. It made me realize there's other people out there that need somebody on the other end of the phone that would encourage them. So what made you get involved with all this?
Well, it was a simple ask, and it sounded easy enough. Father Tom, who was at St. Peter, said, "You're an accountant, right? They could use a little help." The spirit works in funny ways sometimes, right? So I'm like, sure. And so for a number of years, maybe 5 or 6, I just did the books, made sure there was money in the bank, made sure that we could make payroll, that sort of thing. And then I was just drawn in. I was just drawn in and into a leadership role. So I've been president now of the organization for 3 years. Awesome. Some people are very surprised lately to find out that I'm not on a payroll. This is just, it's a voluntary position.
But I think the accounting part of you really helped the fact with the fundraisers and stuff to keep the house moving.
I think so. I think it was what they needed at the time, and that's that's what our faith tells us, right?
Right.
That God will give you what you need.
Well, because even the Bold Ladies recently, $250 they came up with that night. Now people go, $250, what does that do? That makes a big difference.
It's meaningful to us, absolutely.
And now, where your location is, I know you don't like to say where the location is, and that's fine, but do you pay rent and mortgage and all that, or how does that happen?
The space is donated, which is really wonderful, but we maintain the house. We pay our own utility bills. We pay, for any repairs that come up. We buy the furniture unless it's donated. So we do have probably our biggest expenses are we have 2 employees that are on the payroll full-time. One is the resident manager.
I was going to say, is that like a house mother?
Well, we don't call her that because these are adults, women, and so they don't need a mother.
Okay.
So they have a manager.
I like that. Okay, we have a manager.
So we have a resident manager, and her job is to make sure they're making progress through our phases, that they're applying for the benefits if they haven't done that they're applying for jobs, that they're managing and being responsible to the program. So that's her role. And then we have a volunteer coordinator, because we couldn't do any of this without volunteers.
Right.
The volunteers are amazing in that they can do whatever they're being called to do. So if they are called to just rock babies, we got a position for you. If their job is to mentor the women in some aspect, employment or dressing for success or language or there's somebody for that. We have one woman who just picks up some of our residents and goes with them to church.
Isn't that nice?
One of our requirements is you have to go to church. You can pick your own church. You can go but you have to go to church. We're a faith-based organization, and some of the women have never been exposed to faith. So you learn.
I like that requirement.
You learn by doing.
So do you need volunteers? What is your need right now? Of course, finance is always important, and I know you got some fundraisers throughout the year. But what is a constant need? Like if somebody's listening, they go, well, I know with me, I'm a big girl on wet ones, and people laugh at me about my thing about wet ones. I realize they need diapers also, but wet ones are huge. People don't realize they cost money, and you have to have them, right? And so I always donate wet ones. That's just like my thing. And for the foster kids, I always donate underwear, so they get new underwear. So what are some needs if people are listening and saying, I'd like to participate every month? What would be some needs that you guys need?
Well, I would say right now, we would love to hear from volunteers who want to work with our women, and the commitment is very small, and it's not risky. So we think that the more responsible women that our residents are exposed to, the better idea they get of how to be successful or what success looks like when they're through this. So we have a mentorship program where we'll provide. You tell us what area you feel comfortable in. It could be faith, or it could be parenting skills, or it could be a pregnancy coach or anything like that. We'll give you materials. We'll give you the cheat sheet of how to stimulate conversation, and then just meet with our residents an hour a week or
Just
a
love on 'em.
month, just to expose our residents to like a broader view of what of how to be.
Now I would think you'd have no problem getting all kinds of people to do that. Isn't that funny?
Well, we have some. We're expanding.
Okay.
We're expanding, and another way that we're expanding this year is not limiting our program to the women who live in our home, because we only have a capacity for 9, and that's. The need is much greater than that.
Because it could be the whole year just for those 9.
Yes. Depending on if they come early in their pregnancy, we may
Right.
not see that many women. But there are many pregnant women in need. Maybe they don't need a place to live, but they need coaching. They need support through their pregnancies. They need help with getting established with childcare. They need life skills.
Yeah, because you get pregnant, you don't know all the things that are available for you out there.
Absolutely.
And you don't know anything about applying for daycare or anything. Because, you think, oh, I have the baby, I'll just go walk into a daycare.
Right. And that's way more complicated.
Yeah, because newborns, it's hard to find places that will take newborns.
And it's very expensive. So the mentor program our program what we're referring to right now is phase 5, because our in-house program is phase 1 through 4, where women move through, make progress in our program. Phase 5 is to be able to support them when they leave, and to be able to support pregnant women in the community that don't necessarily live with us, and have that same mentorship and the ability to provide them with cribs and walkers and strollers and diapers and wipes and formula, baby clothes. We have
gosh, because they go through that.
Baby clothes.
Right, but tons and tons doesn't last very long, does it? Because babies grow like weeds.
They grow, absolutely. So we have some volunteers that's what they focus on, is keeping the baby clothes donations organized and sized, and pink or blue, or that sort of thing. And we have a lot of donations, great support from the community, but somebody has to keep all that organized.
So what did $250 from the Bold Ladies mean to you?
Well, it meant that I got to speak to 15 or so women who are connected in the community. So,
yes.
Right there, a lot of people don't know about us. So now I'm sure that the information is rolling out there. The $250 for us is probably going to go towards transportation. It's our biggest challenge with our women when they get jobs or when they go for interviews. Most of the women come, they don't have a car.
Right.
And so we have to either Vo Ride, which is an amazing service provided by the county on the west side, so that for $2 you can take what is similar to an Uber ride.
I've never even heard about that. How cool is that?
It's called Vo Ride. And so but it's not like a private ride, so you might get picked up. If you've got to make a doctor's appointment or a job interview, you have to start pretty early to make sure that you get
Right.
it, or you wind up calling an Uber. So and those add up. But we have women who, when they first start their jobs or are interviewing for jobs, we've got to get them from place to place. And at one point we thought we would buy a vehicle. But to buy a vehicle is only the start of it. Then we have to drive it, and we have to insure it, and we have to fix it. And so we haven't really been able to pull that,
Well, that piece would be a very hard piece to do. People don't realize it because you'd have to have a driver, a responsible person on the insurance that would be the driver, because with different girls all the time,
Right.
you probably couldn't do it that way.
Right. And so that would be another person on the payroll, and,
Right.
So we haven't really been able to go in that direction. So transportation, a little bit at a time, it's a 10 here or whatever, that $250 will probably go towards transportation.
Now, you do a big fundraiser every year.
We do.
And
it has historically been Fat Friday, the Friday before the start of Lent.
Yeah.
But everybody loves that time period. So we find that we're competing with a lot of great events that we'd actually like to go to as well. So the committee is looking at doing it next year just after Easter.
Okay.
So
Right. Everybody comes off the law. And
Yeah.
they're going, and then we have something new to do.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So
That's a good idea.
We're looking forward to that. We're about to launch our Labor of Love campaign.
And what is that?
Well, it's fundraising.
Okay.
In connection with Labor Day, Visitation House, we do a lot of laboring, that's part of the process. So we're launching a fundraising campaign with baby bottles, either individual baby bottles where communities can fill it with their change or checks, dollar bills, or retails that could maybe put out a bigger baby bottle or have
I love that.
our QR code and just scan. That helps us. We have a baby bottle drive connected to Mother's Day, and that raised $7,000 for us this year.
Awesome.
So yeah,
You just got to really be, everybody loves babies, and you just got to come up with a marketing idea that makes it happen. I mean, like I said, I'm a wet one girl. Every time I go to the grocery store, I guess because when I am a nanny, but when my children were pregnant, as soon as I found out they were pregnant, every week when I went to the grocery store, by habit, I would either pick up a package of diapers or wet ones, with my normal groceries, and I'd put it in a closet. So when that grandchild was born, there was a closet full of all different kinds of size diapers and different wet ones. And stores are pretty good if you either keep the receipt or if you have not opened it and you needed a 3 instead of a 4, they're pretty good about exchanging it, But my children, I don't think I had to buy diapers for like 9 months, maybe a year, because I did it the whole time they were pregnant. And so I still, to this day, buy wet ones every time I go to the grocery store. Yeah. It's just something I do. And I give them to different organizations that have babies involved, because those are something that if you had to buy the diapers or the wet ones, you're going to buy the diapers.
Right.
And figure out the wet one.
Right.
And so, all of us can do something. So how would people find you? Social media, phone number, what do we need to do?
So we have a website, which is visitationhousedeland.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. Our phone number is 386-822-6014. And how else would you find us? Call me.
Yes, give your phone number.
My phone number is 954-682-9872.
And do you have an opening right now for a pregnancy person? No.
Well, yes. We actually have 2 women that are in the phase 4, which is preparing to move out.
Okay.
So yes, we accept applications all year round.
Oh, okay. Even if you're full, you're accepting because
yes.
it's going to be moving along.
What we've been able to do this year is to, when we have that phone call, if we're not the right solution, we have a list of resources that we can refer women to.
Isn't that wonderful?
If they call us and our requirements are you need to be pregnant and you have to be sober for 6 months.
Okay.
No drugs or alcohol for 6 months. Because we're a community, we're not medical professionals, this is a guest house. So we really can't support like a substance issue or a mental health issue. So we work with organizations that can. So sometimes,
and that's wonderful, because there's a lot of wonderful stuff out there, but you're just having the resources to help people is amazing.
Yeah, there are a lot of great organizations that support us. Foundations for Freedom donates meeting space for us, so that when a woman is ready, we're going to meet a woman who's applied. We can't bring her to the house, right? Because that's where, that's a home. So Foundations for Freedom has given us access to conference room in downtown DeLand, so we can have our board meetings there, so we can have our committee
that's another
meetings
thing
there.
that a year ago you probably didn't have.
We did not.
Right.
We did not. Yes.
So God is good.
Yes, God's good all the time.
Well, it was so nice seeing you again. I'm glad that things are moving on. I can't believe 5 babies.
Yes.
Wow.
Babies.
That'd be a lot of Lebanon.
Yep. Well,
girls, boys, what do you have?
We have both.
Okay.
We have both, and the youngest one is less than 2 weeks old.
Oh my goodness!
And the oldest one is pushing on 4 months.
Pushing on 4 months.
Yes.
Oh my goodness!
Yes.
Lots of loving going on. Tell us one last time. How do we find you?
VisitationHouseDeland.org.
And your phone number?
386-822-6014.